All right, we are back in a Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and we are continuing our flight. We are almost, we started in Plana, Cays, however you pronounce that, and we are almost now to Haiti. You can see Haiti on the western side of that big island we're about to get to, and Dominican Republic's on the eastern side, so we'll probably just fly along the western coast and the southern coast of Dominican Republic, maybe Haiti, and then Dominican Republic for the second and third parts of this flight. But for now, we're going to go to the next Tony Kornheiser show, which is from Wednesday, January 7th. So here we go.
Hey, it's Tony. On today's show, we'll get football picks from Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey. We'll talk to Greg Cody about the Canes' run to the semifinals of the college football playoffs and about what's going on with the Dolphins. But first, commerce.
Reggie, home projects.
And I curve it, I'm not trying. And there are so many frames where I get nothing. I just go right in the gutter. The boys don't go in the gutter because the boys get the bumpers on the side. And so it becomes skee ball for the boys.
Oh, they're playing angles.
So that's, and they did very well.
The captain looks like he's throwing a shot put.
Oh, yeah. He just flings it. One time it went over into the next lane.
This is General George Washington, and you're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Apropos the Open from Nathan Ackerhelm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Summary of Saturday's bowling experience. Mark it 0, dude. Yeah, 0. Yep. I had a lot of zeros. There's two things to talk about, and I'll let the crew decide which comes first. One is...
It's only one answer.
One is the live situation yesterday with John Harbaugh being canned and Wilbon and I having to do the show live. And two is the Sherman heating oil situation. Which do you want to hear first?
Take them in order. Well, the Harbaugh situation affects my son, so I want to get your take on this.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with Harbaugh. So yesterday, we're doing PTI. I'm doing it from the house. Wilbon's doing it from the studio. We have a series of stories that we are prepared to do, and one of the stories, because Wilbon wanted to do this story, I had no enthusiasm for this whatsoever, none. One of the stories was the sort of coaching entanglement at Ole Miss, that some of the assistants are allowed to continue to coach Ole Miss, and some of the assistants are now being brought back into LSU, and Wilbon just thinks this is a really big deal. And he thinks it's a really big deal for a variety of reasons, one of which is it makes the SEC look bad, which makes him happy because it makes the Big Ten look good. And that's part of the agenda. And the other thing is he hates Lane Kiffin.
Yes.
He hates Lane Kiffin. So, as long as we understand why he likes this story. And so we're not going to do the story at all. And then at 4 o'clock, Kelleher and Wilbon and I decide, okay, we'll do this story. And I just say, I really have nothing to add in this. It's been going on for, a month.
Yeah, about a month.
It's been going on for a month.
By the way, Oregon turned the ball over again right by the goal line, and Indiana cashed in to get a touchdown, so it's now 21-7 Hoosiers. 8:06 to go in the second quarter.
Drama isn't the assistants. The drama is Kiffin. The drama is every time Ole Miss wins again and Kiffin sits in LSU.
And the puppet strings.
And wonders, not only does he make free money because LSU agreed to give him bonuses if Ole Miss won game after game after game, but he has to wonder, maybe they don't think I'm that good. Because they're winning it with a guy named Golding who nobody had heard of before. So maybe this hurts me.
It's William Golding, right? Didn't he do Lord of the Flies?
No, it's a different Golding. So that's, that to me, this has been going on. So it's not a story. So I agree, and we do the story. Then we're going to do a story on the possibility of Curt Cignetti leaving Indiana, totally speculative story that I like, leaving Indiana and going to the Raiders, and maybe bringing Fernando Mendoza with him as the #1 overall draft pick, which they get.
Yes. He's got the attitude for it.
Yes. So I like that story. Then originally, the story that gets dumped in order to do the Ole Miss story gets dumped, was the fact that both the New York Knicks and the Oklahoma City Thunder lost again the other night. This story, it's an ongoing story.
Yeah.
They're going to lose a lot. Look, the Oklahoma City Thunder started out 24-1, and they're 6-6 since then. Because it's an unsustainable start historically. Did anybody ever win 80? No, don't even look it up. Nobody ever won 80. Most anybody ever won was 73 and 9. And they're gonna lose more than 9. The best team in the league can be the best team in the league and win between 63 and 65 games every single year.
Sure.
So I don't mind dumping that story. And the last story is a story that Wilbon's not crazy about, which is the speculative story about Trae Young and the possibility of him being traded. One of the teams whose name comes up all the time is the Washington Wizards. It's the worst. If you end up in Washington.
The surging Washington Wizards?
Yeah, they won last night. They won
They won like 3 recently, haven't they?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to do this story because Trae Young will forever be linked with the draft night trade of Trae Young even up for Luka Doncic. The Dallas Mavericks drafted 3rd that year, 2018, and they drafted Trae Young. The Atlanta Hawks drafted 5th, and they drafted Luka Doncic. Okay, and no matter what Trae Young does, he's a good player. Led the league in assists last year. He's 4-time All-Star. No matter what he does, he ain't Luka Doncic. Okay, stop. And one of the lines I said when we taped the show, and it was in the show, was no one, not even Nico Harrison, would trade Luka Doncic
For
Trae Young now.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that story. We do that story. And we get done taping at about, 5:20.
5:17, 18, right around there.
Somewhere in there. Ready to go.
A little buffer.
Yeah, when Matt Kelleher says, and that was really good.
Great segment.
That was really
great
good for
show.
the first time. But we can't. And I go, what? And he goes, John Harbaugh was just fired. I go, really? So, of course, you have to remake the show. So John Harbaugh goes to the top of the show. Ole Miss goes 2nd, and Kurt Signetti goes 3rd. It's okay. There's no NBA, which is a victory for a lot of us most of the time. It's enough NBA. The NBA, look, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The NBA, when you look at it at SportsCenter, it's 2 minutes of highlights, and all the highlights look the same. There are great shots, there are great dunks, there are fouls. It's all the same. This is not the case in other sports.
Last second 3 falling out of bounds.
Yeah, it's not, so, I don't care if we do the NBA. When we do the NBA, there's got to be real meaning to it. I thought the Trae Young trade story had real meaning. I did, personally, and I was really happy to do it. But anyway, it's gone. And we do the Harbaugh story. And we don't have a lot of time to prep the Harbaugh story. And I'd say on the air, look, I'm stunned by this. I'm stunned. John Harbaugh's been there for 18 years. He's won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Steve Bisciotti is not a knee-jerk guy. He's not Mark Davis firing guys every 6 weeks. That's not what he does. And I didn't think that anything that John Harbaugh did merited being fired. I think you fire the coordinators and you acknowledge the fact that Lamar Jackson has not been healthy and has not been anywhere near what he was for 5-6 years in a row. And what he was is a great regular season player and a bad playoff player. But you would get to the playoffs. And so you have to think, wait, you're telling me that he got fired because the guy missed a 44-yard kick? That if he makes the playoffs, he's not going to get fired if he makes the playoffs. He might get fired after the playoffs, but not going to get fired yesterday. So it's a stunner to me, and we did that story, and I don't know that we added all that much to the body politic of John Harbaugh, but that was the right call, and we did it live. Now usually when we do something live, I get an opportunity to say live TV ain't nothing like it. But I didn't, because we had taped the last segment of the show, and it timed out.
Yeah.
It timed out, so we didn't have to go back in and do that live as well. So I was thinking that maybe today I would go live TV ain't nothing like it, even though we're not probably going to, because it's rare.
Yes.
It's rare. It doesn't happen very often. I thought we did fine, but it doesn't happen very often.
How was the heart rate?
Up. Heart rate was up.
Yeah,
heart rate was up.
But it's
check the whoop.
But it was, it was.
It's fun to watch the machine go into motion.
It's exciting.
Still have it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I still have it. It's possible that if you watch the show, you would have said.
For your Ravens solution, do you think coordinator level would have been high enough to appease the quarterback?
Yeah. Get rid of the offensive coordinator. Get rid of the defensive coordinator. Just say didn't work, and give the guy one more year. So that's. You're putting him on notice.
Yeah.
Hey, look, he doesn't need that job. Because the reporting is that within, I don't know, 20 minutes, every single team with an opening has called him.
Yeah.
And every single team has called him, and that would include Baltimore, I guess, because they have an opening.
Well, it's amazing. You look at regular season record and just look at what happens when you're sandwiched between, I don't know, the fading dynasty of the Patriots. You have, obviously,
Kansas
Buffalo
City.
just lurking,
Yes.
and you have Kansas City.
Tough to be in the
And
AFC
so
in the
even
last
with
15 years.
the way that game ends, and you look at...
You also have Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Powerful in the AFC over a lot of years.
And the lasting
In your
image
division.
is, the coach putting his arm around the kid after he misses the field goal on the walk through the tunnel.
What else would you want?
Yeah.
What else would you want of a head coach? So I was stunner to me. Wilbon didn't seem stunned.
Well, he's never surprised.
Well, I certainly was. All right, let me get to Sherman Oil. We will review the Sherman Oil situation, which is year after year after year for 10 or 12 or 15 years, I would do something called a pre-buy around Labor Day. And I would give Sherman Oil a big chunk of money, and that would presumably buy all the propane I needed for the next year, going into the summer. Sometimes you miss by a couple of deliveries, but you're right, you're near it all the time. This year I didn't buy it because I never got the notice. And it's not something that I think about. I don't think, I didn't get the notice. I don't write it down. But then when I got my first bill, I went, what happened? So I called up. What happened? They said, well, you didn't respond to the notice. I said, well, I didn't get it.
It's like when you throw out the parking passes.
Yeah, right.
Which you didn't get.
Yeah, which I didn't get.
Or threw them out.
Or threw them out. One of the two. But in this
context is important.
In this particular case, I didn't throw it out because I do it every single year, And my position was, you should have called me. I'm a loyal customer. I do it every single year. You should have wondered why I didn't do it, and I was worth the call. And the position of the manager, and I talked to the manager a couple of times, position of the manager, her position was, no, we have thousands of customers, and some of them just don't want it, can't afford it. They're selling their houses. We have a variety of reasons, and we don't do that. We don't get back to you. If you don't get back to us, we assume you don't want it.
You made a choice.
Now, I think that's defensible. I think that's fair of her to say. My position is, I think, equally defensible, and it goes like this.
A long touchdown pass for Indiana. It's going to be 28-7, not even halftime yet.
Customer service reaches out to your loyal customers and inquires as to what is going on here when there is a break in the pattern. And she said no. And so I had written a couple of notes, got no responses, and then I called. This is after the previous phone call. I'd written notes in the bill saying I'm still disappointed, and I never got a response. And then I called and I said, I want to talk to the president. And she said, well, we've had this conversation. I am the manager. I said, okay, then I want to talk to the owner. Who is the owner? I want to talk to the owner. And she said, well, Mr. Sherman is the owner. And I said, well, I want to talk to Mr. Sherman about this. And that was the end of our conversation. It was not angry. I made a request. I never thought that anything would happen. I didn't. I thought she'd just say, the guy's a loser.
You'd still keep writing your little personal notes every month.
Right.
Memo line of the
I get a call back from her a couple of weeks later. It says, Mr. Sherman is willing to offer you a pre-buy right now at a lower rate than you are paying per delivery, not as low a rate as the original pre-buy, but somewhere in the middle. And I said, that's great. That's really great. I'm very grateful for that. And I did it. And I wrote a check right away for that sizable amount of money. But that's because it's going to be 6 months of heating oil. And I felt that was, I don't know Mr. Sherman. I don't know if that actually happened. Maybe it happened. But I felt that was a very fair compromise, that both of us lose a little and both of us gain a little. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'd say fair compromise is the perfect way to describe it. This is the solution that I came up with weeks ago, which is they should have a second round of buy-in, and there's a different price point.
Yeah.
The tough part about this is you have a very reasonable sense of what customer service is, but it's often customer service just for you, not for customer service writ large as to how they treat everybody. So I just think about the expenses to what it would mean to follow up to people who made the decision by not opting in. to do that follow-up, and all of a sudden maybe the price point is changing for everybody, for those who didn't necessarily have the cash to buy into the prepay, and now they're paying a higher premium because someone else is on the phone checking in with you who already made your decision. I'm happy it ended the way it did, and I would just love to know that Mr. Sherman, a longtime PTI viewer,
that would be good. I had no sense at all. I have had and have no sense at all that the manager of Sherman Oil has any idea what I do for a living. I think she just said it's another customer.
Yeah.
He's been around for a while. He's annoying me.
Yes, but no one was angry, and I appreciate that Sherman Oil had very reasonable reasons for not acting.
Yes, defensible.
Yeah.
Well, Oregon just turned the ball over again. Another fumble. Indiana's just dominating this game. It's insane how good Indiana got.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't yell
my
at you.
My position is contrary to that, but I've explained my position.
No, I would love to follow up and just say, I know you can't really do this, but I would love to see the notes that you have on file about a certain customer. First name Tony.
Yeah. So anyway,
now,
that's
when that offer was made to you, did it come with the following phrase? Now, Mr. Sherman said this: someday, that day may never come, he's going to call upon you for a favor.
It did not. It did not. But I would have done that.
Sure.
Oh, they're entering shout-out territory.
I would have done that. So, but again, I mean, do I believe there is a Mr. Sherman, or is that a convenient thing to say?
I like to believe that was went all the way up the top of the flagpole.
I like to believe he's driving the truck.
So, and if this is a true fact, then I have even more respect for the manager who did it.
Yes.
She did it.
Yep.
You know, so anyway, all's well that ends well, it seems to me, and we will take a break. Chuck Todd will join us to pick some games. When we return, I'm Tony Kornheiser.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Every Friday from 6 to 7:30, it's NBA Happy Hour on FanDuel, your pregame for the weekend. We're talking limited time specials you won't want to miss. Boosts, bonuses, surprises, all dropping in the app during Happy Hour. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app to see the week's specials. Then make your move before the shot clock expires at 7:30 Eastern. It's a perfect way to start your weekend. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Must be 21 plus and present in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana. Call 1-800-50 for 24/7.
Subscription need fitness.
The Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is Philip Martin. He's a columnist at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, which I assume is in Little Rock.
Yes, I'm fairly certain.
And he writes, been enjoying the show much lately. I don't have a Spotify rap, but I didn't miss an episode last year. I got my wife a G-Tech hand warmer muffler, like the one Tony's been talking about on air, as a Christmas present. She concurs it's the best thing ever, especially for walking dogs in the dark, unseasonably cold mornings we've had lately. I obviously could have used a code because I paid $230 for hers. Though I do have $200 in shop credit, but you got to get into the shop. Anyway, she's warm with her hands, and Philip Martin is sending us a song. This one is called Sandy, which is his ode to Sandy Koufax's high school days. Finished it by his 90th birthday. Isn't that lovely? But just missed it by a little. And that's the first song that we're going to play by Philip Martin, Sandy. Well, I'm always happy when writers sing as well. When they're good. It's great.
Like Shinin.
Dave Shinin, absolutely.
Brilliant singer.
Plays in Chuck Todd, who had a bad week. 2-5. He's at even. He's at Mount 500, but you got to go one way or the other at this point. 65 and 65. And maybe you shouldn't have picked the college games because you were 1-3, huh?
They killed me.
Yeah.
But I'm already in a better mood because I thought I was 1-6. I was pretty convinced I was 1-6.
No, 2-5.
Grateful that I got that second win because I thought it meant I'd drop below 500. The only thing I can chalk it up to is I'm drunk on the Hurricanes, and that's all I'm thinking about. That's about all I got.
Yeah, well, but that's
my excuse.
That is your loyalty, right? That is your loyalty.
100%. It is.
Now you won. 100%. You won with Miami. That was one of your wins, and I thought you won. You took Carolina over Tampa Bay plus 2.5, and Carolina lost by 2. So I thought you won that.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's but that's been about it.
Yeah,
it was brutal.
Yeah,
it was brutal.
Yeah,
but think about these NFL playoffs. Is any result going to shock you?
The only thing, honestly, that would shock me is if both Carolina and Pittsburgh won at home. I would be very surprised at that. But no, nothing else. In the AFC, with the exception of the Chargers, I think any team can get to the Super Bowl or lose in the first round. And in the NFC, the only team I really count out is Carolina. I mean, they lost to get in.
Can I get a bonus win for calling the loser of the Ravens-Steelers game that coach is gone? Do I get any extra credit for
that's pretty good. I will say that, so when I found this out yesterday, and we found it out, we had to go live on the A block because we found it out so late. I was stunned that Harbaugh was fired. Just stunned. Were you not stunned at that?
It seemed like something was wrong all year, though. Didn't you get the sense that, and I know we're
but I'd fire the coordinators. I would have fired the coordinators and given him another year. And Lamar Jackson is not Lamar Jackson, so I don't know. It's like when I find out that Washington gets rid of Cliff Kingsbury, and I go, what? Like your guy's quarterback is out the whole year, basically. What are you getting rid of him for? So, but with Washington's case, the next stop is the head of Dan Quinn.
Oh, yeah.
So, I guess makes sense. Let me just do this read.
So it's Harbaugh's going to be the Giants, right?
He can go anywhere he wants. He's apparently gotten offers from every single team that needs a coach. Like, he could have had a job last night before it was announced he lost the job, apparently. This week's picks with Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. We will start. The Rams are a huge favorite at Carolina, 10.5 points. That's really a lot of points in a playoff game. And if I'm not mistaken, Carolina beat the Rams earlier this year. I don't know, maybe that factors in as a revenge motif for the Rams. It's a lot of points, though I do think the Rams have the capability of winning by 25. Who you got?
It's a ton of points, and yet I can't bring myself to take Carolina. I mean, it feels like that, the NFL playoffs are another level. And I'm assuming that McVay's got the Rams. I think it's like, I don't think it's out of the realm that every road team wins in the NFC.
Okay.
And if you can't, and I don't want to take the points with Carolina if you don't believe they're going to win. So I'm going to take the Rams. It's a lot of points, but I'll take the Rams.
It's a lot of points. The next line flipped overnight. A flip of 3 points. Green Bay yesterday was plus 1.5 at Chicago and is now minus 1.5 at Chicago. Chicago has beaten Green Bay both times they played this year, both fairly recently. So they beat them in Lambeau.
No, they're 1-1. They're 1-1.
Oh, I thought they beat them both times. They beat them They beat them in Chicago.
No, that's right.
Okay, they beat them in
Chicago. And Green Bay won. It was it was right at I think they intercepted Caleb at the last play or something.
That's right. No, you're right. I remember that now. So Green Bay has Jordan Love back. We don't know his effectiveness, but they have him back. And they're now a 1.5 point favorite. It's a negligible amount of points for these two teams, but it's a big flip in 24 hours.
It is. And LaFleur, you may not believe this, LaFleur might be coaching for his job.
Really?
There's a lot of grumpiness, and The Athletic had a little something about this. Here's the thing. There's a statistic, I think I've said it to you before, where it's something like 90% of Super Bowl winning coaches did it within the first 6 years they were with the franchise. And that if you haven't won it, it's like Andy Reid is the lone exception.
Okay.
That, if you're not winning it in that first 5 or 6, essentially your first iteration of building your team, you're not winning it. And LaFleur's, I think, in year 8, year 7, 3 straight years of the 7th seed, all of those things. So, they can't, a loss here creates a lot of, a little drama there.
Well, I will say this about LaFleur, and I remember him from here, McVay, LaFleur, Shanahan, all of those guys, McDaniel even. LaFleur does not have any particular stature. He's not John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin. He's a guy. He's a guy.
He's a guy.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, there's something, and I don't know, I get frustrated with this play calling. I'm taking the Packers out of loyalty. I probably should take the Bears at the points here, but I don't think Harrison would forgive me if I pick the Bears.
That's fine.
On your show.
That's
in a public setting.
Okay.
So, but I'm putting that out there to, give a hint. I think Bears getting points here is the call. But I'm taking the Packers.
Buffalo is a 1.5 point favorite at Jacksonville. Jacksonville has won 8 games in a row and appears to be really, really good. Buffalo has 2 great players on offense, and they don't really have anything else. Wilbon believes Buffalo is going to lose this game. Jeff Saturday believes Buffalo is going to lose this game. What do you believe?
I'm believing that Josh Allen's in the playoffs without Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, I think, for the first time ever.
Okay.
right? And Burrow, right? Everybody that has stood in his way.
Yeah, in the AFC. Yeah.
I'm buying that this is if he can't pull it off this time, when's he pulling it off? I'm riding the Bills here.
Okay.
I'm believing in that narrative that he's going to just carry them.
That's the third road team out of 6 so far. The 49ers, who got smothered by Seattle, totally smothered. They are at Philadelphia.
Touchdown, Indiana, 35-7, not even halftime yet.
One thing we know about Philadelphia is they're a good playoff team. They may not look good going in, but they are a really good playoff team. 49ers have not been a really good playoff team. The 49ers, though, are getting 4.5 points, which strikes me as a lot of points. And in a city, Philadelphia, where it's going to be rainy, maybe, but it's not going to be freezing. It's not. So, what do you like?
It's not going to be cold, right? It's warming up.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's warming up this week.
Yeah.
I like the points. This feels like a field goal game. The only thing is that last week taught me is maybe the Niners can't handle a physical game.
Yeah, they're
Is that
Seattle could have beaten them by 35 points. They could have. Wow.
And Philly, one thing they're going to do is bring.
Yep.
But 4.5. I'll bet the field goal game. So give me that.
Okay.
Another road team.
Los Angeles Chargers is the one team I don't really love in the AFC. Los Angeles Chargers.
Why is that?
Because when I watch them on television, they lose most of the time that I watch them, or when they win, they don't win great. Now, it's a hard call for me here because Justin Herbert did not play last week. And I should get that game out of my mind completely, but it's in my mind at the moment. The Chargers are getting 3.5 at New England. New England went from 4-13 to 14-3. Had a very easy schedule doing it, but did it. And they are a 3.5-point favorite over the Chargers. Who do you like?
By the way, Mike Vrabel, is he not the best reference on your resume for John Harbaugh?
Yes.
Hire an ex-coach.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He your coach of the year, by the way?
He is mine, but it's a close vote with Ben Johnson and Liam Cohn. It's a close vote. And there are some people that would say give it to the guy in Minnesota. Not Minnesota, in Seattle. Give it to the Seattle guy. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good debate.
Yeah.
You also got Chicago, you got Jacksonville, you got all those guys. I'm going to take New England. I'll ride Vrabel.
Okay. Take New England. It gives you one more game. That is Houston at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's very lucky to be in the playoffs. It's a 44-yard field goal. Like 90% of the time, maybe more than that, those are good in the NFL. And Pittsburgh is in the playoffs. Houston has won 9 games in a row, has a great defense. Pittsburgh, though, is getting back DK Metcalf, and I think that could be significant. Pittsburgh at home, they don't win in the playoffs anymore, so you could see Tomlin gone at the end of this one if they lose. Houston is a 3-point favorite on the road, and I think it should actually be a higher number. Who do you like?
This Houston defense is, this could be Ravens 2000, right?
Yeah.
Where the defense can take you all the way.
Yeah.
I like this Texans defense. Give me the Texans. I don't know why they're not. Well, I get why the line is what it is because it's road, but still, I like the Texans here, and I don't feel like it's a close call.
Do you want to hazard the college games where you got almost wiped out last time? Because you got Miami still playing.
I'm nervous about Miami being a favorite all of a sudden. This underdog role was kind of nice.
Yes.
But, with the suddenly Miami's got a little pressure. Look, I like Miami here. I think they can. I think their defense, I think the Ole Miss defense isn't good enough to stifle Miami's offense, while Miami's defense is good enough to do that to them. So I like Miami cover in the 3.5, and I'm not getting in the way of the freight train that's Indiana.
Right. You don't have to bet any
train.
of these games. You don't have to bet either of them. But if you want to, we'll let you.
All right. Yeah. I will. I need to pad the record. It's like it's like reaching into your pocket for more money at a blackjack table.
Yeah.
Give me Miami and Indiana both to cover, the 2 favorites.
Indiana is a what favorite? How much are they in Oregon? See, what would scare me?
I think 3.5. I had 3.5 on both, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.5.
Here's what would scare me about Indiana, and I'm rooting for Indiana to win because I just think they're a better story than Oregon. But this is a rematch game, and we have seen in rematches the team that lost first win second. We've seen that.
Yeah.
And Oregon is a really good squad.
Not only that, Tony, I think I read the stat in this sort of, in going back to the 4-team playoff era, the only same season rematch where the same team won was earlier this month when Ole Miss beat Tulane a second time. And it's like,
that doesn't count.
Right. Exactly. Every other instance, the losing team has won.
So that's what...
No, it's a fair point. Hey, here's a fun fact for you. Let me give you one that Miami can... Miami is one of only 2 teams that have both a football and a basketball team in the Final Four since 2021. Who's the other university?
Final Four teams? Alabama?
Basketball and Final Four.
Alabama.
Yep. It's Alabama.
Oh, I got that.
Well done.
Oh, wow. I used to be a sports writer.
We're going to go with Binghamton.
I would not have gone with Binghamton.
It might have been, Binghamton was really close.
Yeah.
Really close.
Really close. All right.
It was quite, if you go back to 2020.
Have a good day playing golf. Enjoy yourself.
Bye, guys.
Chuck Todd, boys and girls. If we just gave you Chuck Todd, it would be more than enough. But we give you more than Chuck Todd. We give you a monkey.
See the monkey, he's scratching, watching his iPad, smoking and laughing, hanging with Bud Grant, tap.
Everybody sing along on the chorus.
Nigel's going to the zoo. Reginald's got the bikes by 2. Sometimes he throws boo. When he's had too much Johnny Walker Blue.
Now, Reginald had a good week.
Yeah.
Reginald was 3-1. Reginald is 5-2 over the last 2 weeks. He's 22-33 overall, so he's not going to make it.
It's going to be tough. He's going to have to pretty much go undefeated.
You know, if he closes well, that's nice. If he closes,
and again, not bad for a monkey.
No, not
bad for a monkey. No. So I went down to the National Zoo. He was not there. I had to Zoom with him.
Oh.
Turns out he was down in Alabama, where he's breaking ground for the William J. Lepedemain Memorial Gambling Casino for the criminally insane.
Yeah.
This is a passion project for him for
good
years.
For him. It's
yeah.
Good.
Joined there by fellow investors Charles Barkley, Joey Chestnut, and Helena Bonham Carter. So
there you go. That's an eclectic crew.
Well, he attracts an interesting group of people around him.
What does he have? Is he going to pick them all, or is he going to pick some?
He's going to pick 3.
Going to pick 3. That's fair.
He's going to pick 3 because he figured if he picked all 6, he would lose all 6.
Okay.
So the first match we gave him was the Bears at home, getting a 1.5 against the Packers. And Reginald was very excited, pulled out his wallet, showed me a photo of his new house in North Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, boy, where
right
all the
next to
Chicagoans go.
Right, then he showed me a text thread with him, Wilbon, Richard Dent, and some guy named Jordan. Tells me he's got ties to Chicago.
He'll take Chicago.
Yes. Now, the next match we gave him was Philly at home, giving 4.5 to the San Francisco 49ers. And this was lovely. Reginald showed me a newspaper clipping of him in a stage production of Death of a Salesman with Jalen Hurts and Kyle Schwarber playing Biff and Happy, respectively.
There you
of course,
go.
Reginald was playing Willie. Yeah.
Attention must be paid.
Exactly. So he will take Philly and lay the 4.5. And the final match we gave him was Jacksonville at home, getting a 1.5 versus the Bills. And this is not surprising. Reginald showed me a picture of him eating his favorite Waffle House in downtown Jacksonville alongside Mark Brunell, Tony Baselli, and Fred Taylor.
So he's going home teams.
Yes.
3 home teams. Chuck went 5 out of 6 road teams.
Yeah, Reginald loves the home cooking.
Now, we'll see how it works out. This week's picks with Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey have been brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more, and we will come back with Greg Cody, and we'll talk about the University of Miami and the Miami Dolphins and what Troy Aikman is doing down there. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
That special someone in your life a gift.
One more time, this is Philip Martin. He's a columnist at the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. And he's also a singer and a songwriter. And this is a song called Road to Irpin, which is for his friend Brent Renault, who was the first American journalist killed in the Ukraine after the Russians invaded, and who was the subject of a heartbreakingly sad HBO documentary, Armed Only with a Camera. And Philip writes, I understand if maybe you think the subject is a little too sober for the show. No, we're happy.
It's a beautiful song.
We're happy to play your music. Thank you very much for that.
I should point out, we'll hear from him one more time. He's got the mailbag jingle today as well.
Oh, okay. He's done. Yeah, he took a crack at the email jingle. So if people like Philip Martin want to send in their original music, Michael, get it played on the show, how do they go about it?
Send us your music by emailing it to jingles@TonyKornheiserShow.com.
And it plays in Greg Cody, because we got a bunch of Miami things. It's an all-Miami day with Chuck Todd.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the Canes, and now Greg talking about the Canes and about the Dolphins. Let me just start with this. I have to sit and listen to Wilburn tell me how Miami fell off the face of the earth, in the last X amount of years, which I don't think is true. I don't think they're as good as they were, but it's not like, they became a team that goes 1-8 every single year. How good is this Miami team in comparison to the teams that you remember from years ago as being national contenders?
It's very comparable. They're where they are right now, 2 wins away from a national championship with great cause, with good reason. I mean, they're super good. Cristobal has rebuilt this entire team. He took over a roster that had really been depleted and was sort of sad, and that's why he went 5-7 his first year, and he's gotten better and better every year. And the team I'm seeing right now was built from the ground up. Their offensive and defensive lines are among the best in the country, and it starts there. And I think they can win this national championship, and I think they're as good as the teams that won 5 of them back in the golden days.
So thank you for mentioning Mario Cristobal, who is an alum, who played on some of the great Miami teams, and who has a reputation as a loon, making incredibly stupid decisions time and time again, not just once, but twice. Do you trust Mario Cristobal?
Yeah, look, everybody's gonna hark back to the disaster against Georgia Tech a couple of years ago, and that's never gonna leave him. He does have that reputation of being less than a super coach on the sideline during games, and that may be a matter of fact. But what you get in Cristobal is a recruiter, a guy who can win the portal, and that's in today's college football. I think it starts there, and an example would be, last year he gets Cam Ward out of the portal, and Cam Ward breaks records that have stood, passing records that have stood at this college for decades. And this year he gets Carson Beck, who was the number 1 QB in the portal. So he can win the living room and the portal, and I think that's where it starts. I'll take the fact that he may make a bad decision or misuse a timeout occasionally.
Let me go back a month ago when the last poll is released and Miami gets into the tournament. I'm not going to say I was stunned, but I just thought, boy, there's a complicated series of reasons why this has happened, and the committee looks really stupid because they had rated Notre Dame ahead of Miami by at least 2 spots for every single time they did the rankings. Greg, did you think Miami was actually getting into this tournament?
No, I had my doubts. I think you and I were of the same mind. I thought the committee was going to stick with Notre Dame despite the logic of the head-to-head game. But they didn't, and I think what's been proven is that they made the right decision. And that's nothing against Notre Dame, but, man, when you hold the Texas A&M offense to 3 points and then you beat the championship favorite in Ohio State, you've proven yourself, and now they're favored for the first time against Ole Miss. So this team is proving itself, and particularly that it deserved to be in the CFP, even with those 2 losses.
Totally justified. I mean, I think Notre Dame would be justified too. My problem is with James Madison and teams like that, because I don't think it should be a charity tournament. But Miami's totally justified. Let's look back a little bit. Why has Miami been? I mean, let's not say what Wilbon says, they're no good, but why have they been non-championship factors for 15 years?
Well, it's like you say, they've never been awful, but they've been mediocre. They've watched Clemson dominate the ACC. They've watched FSU have its time atop the ACC, and they've never even won an ACC championship. But Cristobal, he just retooled the whole thing from the ground up with the OL and the defensive line, and he's got a great running game. Last year, the pass defense was very bad, and he retooled that. So he's got a complete roster right now, and their offensive line and their running game led by Mark Fletcher, I think, are in a position to beat Ole Miss. I've been joking. I like to refer to Ole Miss as Ole Miss tackles, because I don't think they're great on defense. They're not, and I think Miami's going to run all over them. So we'll see. And then if they get to the championship game, which is in their own home stadium, it's going to be lovely, because they're either going to play Indiana with the Miami-raised Heisman winner, or they're going to play Oregon, the team that Cristobal left to go back home. So there are great storylines all over the place.
How do you feel when you see Michael Irvin running around the sidelines hugging everybody? Does that make you feel good?
It's a cartoon. I can see why people make fun of it.
I like it.
But as somebody who's known Michael since he was a teenager, I enjoy it. I think he's the on-field cheerleader. He's the sideline cheerleader, and they love it. And Jimmy Johnson comes back here. Edgerrin James was on the sideline in the last game. The U has a strong history of generational connection, and I think you're seeing that right now.
Nobody will understand this now. Nobody under the age of 40, because it's a wire service joke, but you will get it. Best quote I ever got, was Michael Irvin, who said the following line: "That's us, number one FBI, number one UPI." I just loved it. Just loved Michael Irvin. Let me shift over to the Dolphins. Is McDaniel going to keep his job as the coach?
Yesterday at this time, I'd have said yes, emphatically. And then Baltimore fires John Harbaugh, and that sort of changed everything nationally, not just in Miami. They'd be fools not to go after Harbaugh. Okay, I've not been one of these fire McDaniel guys, but when you have John Harbaugh out there available, I think you have to go after him. I think the Dolphins should. Stephen Ross has a connection with the Harbaughs in Michigan and all that stuff, and he went after Jim Harbaugh a few years ago and didn't get him. I'm not saying that they will go after him, and I'm saying even less that they have a chance to get him, but man, if I was Stephen Ross, I would be all over John Harbaugh's availability.
What happens with Tua? Does it depend on if there is a new coach? If McDaniel is there, Tua wants out. Are they going to go with Quinn Ewers?
That's the way it's looking right now. Quinn Ewers in his 3 starts has had spotty results. I thought he was great in the first half of the Tampa Bay game, less so Sunday in New England. But that's a good defense. That's the first good defense he's faced, the first road game he's faced. There were a lot of obstacles there, the cold weather, all of it. But Quinn Ewers, I think, deserves a chance to win the job. The Tua situation is ugly and terrible, because he's got, they're going to be paying him $50 million next year to essentially be a backup quarterback, if not a third stringer. So it's an unenviable situation. They're going into the offseason essentially not having a proven quarterback that they believe in.
It's the same thing that happened to Atlanta. They spent a lot of money on Kirk Cousins, and as a result, the general manager was justifiably fired because he ruined the entire quarterback thing by drafting Penix and it's a bad situation. What is Troy Aikman? What is his involvement with Miami?
Well, he's the advisor on the general manager front, but you have to also think that he's weighing in on the whole quarterback situation as well. Why wouldn't they have him do that? So I think Quinn Ewers has a hand not only in who the next GM is going to be, but also in how good is Quinn Ewers, and Aikman's going to have a hand in all of that right now, even though ostensibly they hired him for the GM search.
I agree with you. I mean, it's like when you hire Tom Brady. Don't you want Tom Brady to evaluate your quarterback? Don't you think Tom Brady knows what he's doing? I would say the same thing about Troy, right?
Yeah, that's 100%. They also have Dan Marino in the room. I mean, they can utilize him all they want, but Marino has sort of been a little bit of an unwilling participant in terms of front office type stuff. he's rather independent of that. But Aikman's going to have a hand in the GM search and in the coaching situation, and why wouldn't he?
If you bring in a new GM, I don't know how you keep, unless that new GM really likes McDaniel, I don't know how you keep McDaniel. I don't understand it.
Well, I think the first thing to understand is that Stephen Ross, who owns the team, is a fan of Mike McDaniel. He believes in him, trusts him, and I think that's an overriding decision right now. Now, that's not to say that he wouldn't go after a coach of John Harbaugh's status, but at the same time, I think he believes in McDaniel. And honestly, if they fired Mike McDaniel tomorrow, I think he would turn up as an offensive coordinator somewhere. I think he's got skill on that side of the ball. There's a lot wrong with him. He doesn't present himself very well in a post-game news conference, particularly when he's not winning and allowed to be glib and clever. But I think he can coach offensive football. And we saw that a couple of years ago, and then Tua has a bad season, and Tyreek Hill gets hurt, and everything goes off the rails.
Yeah. All right, we'll get you out of here on this. It's early in the morning. How's Lebitard? Is he sweating yet? Is everything okay down there? So
he goes to bed and wakes up sweating. You know that.
Yeah. Is everything good in those studios? Are those the studios that Pablo uses as well in Miami?
I think so. It's rather palatial, to be honest with you. I'm in a spare studio right now. I'm enclosed. It's glorious down here.
That's nice. That's nice. I mean, the best thing about Dan is that Dan, of course, hates all authority, and now he is the authority, so he hates himself.
I know. Great. It's wonderful to hear him complain about all the responsibility he has when he took it on himself.
Yeah, they gave him a lot of money, and he eagerly took the money, and now he's very bitter at himself, which makes me happy. Just makes me happy.
Yeah, me too. It's the best of both worlds when you can be making all that money and yet be allowed to complain about it.
Be miserable. Be miserable. Yeah. All right, thank you, Greg. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay, Tony. Thanks.
Greg Cody, boys and girls. We will take a break. We will come back with email and jingle. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Why do growing businesses love working in...
Tony Kornheiser Show.
Connective tissue that keeps little dreams alive. Maybe today someone will read your note. Maybe he's received your fax. Oh, maybe he can finally get his email. Maybe you should just relax. Well, here comes Tony Mailbag. He's got your email faxes and your notes. And here comes Tony Mailbag, and gonna read some all you folks.
This is spectacular.
Is it great?
Let it build.
This is Philip Martin.
It goes on for a little bit more.
Playing that guitar, this is fabulous. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a wow. That's a wow.
Really good.
Wow. So all I said is wow 3 times. Wow. You want to do the Bethesda Bagel Ad?
Yes. Hot bagels today. Always excited about that.
Yeah, whatever you say always makes me think of Hot Bench.
What's the tagline from that?
3 judges.
3 judges, 3 opinions, 1 verdict, something like that.
I forgot ever watching.
Hot Bench.
Yeah.
Just go to BethesdaBagels.com for the location in the DC area nearest you. Then pop on in and you'll be thrilled.
Before we get to the mailbag, let me just say you walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Your hat strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf was apricot. You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself gavotte. And all the girls dream that they'd be your partner, and you're so vain, you probably think the song is about you. That's Carly Simon with one of the great songs of all time, apparently about Warren Beatty, where Mick Jagger sings in the background.
Yep.
Some people think it's apparently about Mick Jagger as well.
Yep.
But she's real smart.
Yes.
And she's real good, and that's one of the great songs ever, I think. I just love the song.
Oh, for sure.
Thanks to our guests today, Chuck Todd and Greg Cody. Thanks as well to today's sponsors. Remember, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Odyssey. Get you through Apple. Please leave us a review. I want to thank Paul Ross very much for a very nice note inviting Michael and I to go play a golf with him at TPC. I guess they call it TPC Potomac. I always called it Avenel. I was called it.
It's had some rebrands over the years.
Yeah, it's very nice. Kelleher is a member there. I
Okay.
believe. So, and he went to Oceanside High School. And he said he followed my career from Newsday to the Times, then moved to Bethesda. He's a retired podiatrist. I need a podiatrist. I wish he wasn't retired.
Well, maybe
I got a pain on the right side of my right foot up high.
That's not good.
It's not good, but it's a very nice note. Thank you very much. We'll put that in the special pile.
You don't have a history of ankle issues, though.
No, because I've only broken each one 3 times. They're ridiculous.
Liz was astounded by this fact.
Yes, I just...
3 each one?
3 times. Oof. It's bad.
That's not good.
It's good distribution.
From Marty West, not that Marty West, but the son of that Marty West. I was listening on Monday to Tony talk about bowling at Columbia, and I thought, wait, I know that bowling alley. That's the alley where our family bowled last week on a holiday trip to the DMV. It's also the alley where back in 1987 and 88, my dad and I won back-to-back 12 and under father-son club championships. Yes, that Marty West is quite good at bowling. We didn't win shop credit, but I did get to walk out twice with a new pair of bowling shoes. Having lived in New England for the past 30 years, though, the main reason I'm writing is to correct some misinformation about our most distinctive regional pastime. It is called candlepin bowling, not, as Nigel insisted, candlestick.
Okay.
It differs from the duck pin bowling you experience at Columbia in 2 respects. First, the pins are far taller and tapered at both the top and the bottom. I have never done candlepin bowling. Second, one is not obligated to clear the dead wood before the second and third balls of a frame, opening up all sorts of interesting possibilities. That happens with Columbia as well. The pins that are down just lay there.
They stay there.
They spin around for a while and they just lay there. Information for life? I'm not sure, but at least it's information. Happy New Year and keep potting, and best Marty West, who has a small job of consequence. He's the academic dean of education.
Name title.
At Harvard Graduate School of Education, where Michael and Liz went.
So he would know the bowling place that I was thinking of. It's a pizza place up by the movie theater, a couple squares above Harvard.
Okay, so he would know that. So he's listening, so we'll find out what that is.
And Harvard is generally known as the Binghamton of Massachusetts,
of the
right?
Northeast.
The Northeast.
Of the way Northeast. Yeah. Carl Laubach, Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Walked in Nazareth. I was happy to hear that you like bowling. I like bowling too. That's it. Dan Smith, Middleton, Ohio. Sounds like your golfing and bowling scores are about the same. No, my golf scores are higher. Consistency is important. Keep up the good work.
He can bowl a 130.
David Epstein in New York. Love the tales of bowling. For the record, duckpin and candlepin bowling are not the same thing. Duckpin bowling uses a slightly larger and heavier ball than candlepin bowling, but the main difference, of course, is the pins. Fortunately, the nomenclature tells you all you need to know. Duck pins, like a duck, are short and squat. Candlepins, as with many candles, are tall and narrow. While both are challenging, I find candlepin particularly tricky because, as you know, in both of these games, the dead wood stays on the lane, and a tall pin laying across the alley can literally block you from hitting some of the remaining pins. Regardless, I fully concur that bowling is a tremendously fun family sport, and if you're lucky, like my brother, you may end up on a plane next to pro bowler and ABC commentator Nelson Burton Jr., and the story of that day gets you on the Brush with Greatness segment on Late Night with David Letterman. Not bad for a sport where high achievement is called a turkey. It's a great email.
How about that?
Mark Spoor, Canton, Georgia. As a former sports journalist and current bowling coach, I've been waiting for years for my game to be a topic on my favorite podcast. It was a New Year miracle.
That was my approach.
From your description, it appears you and your family did duckpin bowling. Duckpins are short and wide, while candlepins are tall and thin like candlesticks. In candlepin bowling, most popular in New England, you get 3 shots per frame. Well, you get that in this too. And the down pins stay on the deck throughout the frame and are in play just like this, which can make for some wild strategy. Incidentally, in duckpin, the Tony reality method is The Tony Reali method is preferred as the pins fly around and create more action. I'm so happy to provide this for you as a small token of my appreciation for the wonderful work you and the crew do for us all. You built truly something special. Thank you.
How do you get hook spin? And if you are to hook it, where do you have to enter the lane? If you have like the
way
arrows
right, you probably have to go way
right. But you have to start on the left side like you're playing a little hook. You have to start at the left tee marker.
But you have to let go of the ball way on the right if you're hooking it.
Yeah.
Right? David Bradley, Sterling, Virginia. I don't know when you walk your dog in the evening, but when I walked mine at 7:05 Saturday night, the moon was pretty spectacular. Hope you got to see it. I did. Waning gibbous, but nearly full and very bright with a few light clouds nearby. I mention that, of course, only because it brings me to my favorite name drop, which I try to use at least twice a year. In December 2003, while working as a newspaper reporter at the grand opening of the National Air and Space Museum's Udvar Hazy Center in Chantilly, I was talking with John Travolta when I met Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon.
It's a pretty good name drop.
Well, that was the name drop the other day from 21. Guy came back to the United States. Yeah, but he was Neil Armstrong.
That's right.
So on the moon. Oh, from Dan Byrne. You guys were talking about Olivia Nuzzi a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, I'm in her American Canto book. And he says, wow, Dan Byrne agrees.
Oh, it's on the other side, I think.
Dan Byrne imagines that Marilyn Monroe marries Henry Miller instead of Arthur Miller. In Marilyn, a song he wrote in the early 1900s while living in Los Angeles, he figures her existence would have been in that event a more whimsical and less burdened affair. The bulk of Monroe's estate had been left to her acting coach, and when he died, it was inherited by his second wife, who licensed her image with liberal abandon. At the time, Byrne was in the city with which she was most associated in the American imagination. She was everywhere, he told me, and he could not help but contemplate her life and its material end. In the song he croons, Marilyn Monroe didn't marry Henry Miller, but if she did, he'd have taken her to Paris. She smoked a lot of opium. She'd have dyed her hair blue. They'd have something every night. She'd have felt like a woman, not like a photograph in a magazine. And maybe then she'd have died the same way anyway, but if she did, she'd have had more fun. Wow.
Isn't that great?
Dan Byrne in that book.
Yeah, connective tissue.
Wow. Danny Lichtenstein, Atlanta, Georgia. Longtime listener. Turned on to you by my son. First time emailer. Excuse me. Either I happened to miss the show this was covered on, or I heard the reason but forgot it, being plagued by short-term memory loss, much like yourself. But maybe you just haven't graced your listeners yet with the reason. But why is taking a shower at Columbia Country Club often a part of your morning activities, seemingly even when you aren't playing golf? Could it be you're trying to save on your big water bill at home? Or is a shower at Columbia the perfect combination of water, temperature, and pressure? Or has it become a routine that you, as a creature of habit, again, much like myself, just don't want to break? Please enlighten myself and any other uninformed littles at what seems to be such a satisfying part of your day.
It starts with the steam.
It's not every day. You go into the steam room and the shower pressure at country clubs is great. I mean, come on, this is an important thing.
It's grandfathered in.
This is an important thing. If they don't have good shower pressure, it's better than in your house.
Yeah.
It's better. And then I've told you this before, it is a nesting quality for me. When I go, I feel like I have returned to a nest, and I'm always happy to do that. So that's what it's about. Antonio Rodriguez, who says, La Cheeserie, Antonio Rodriguez. I wanted to say that I've been using Reginald's picks for the last 5 years, and needless to say, taking betting advice from a monkey has not been profitable, but I guess that's why it's called gambling. Well, at the start of the year, I asked my daughter to place my bets for me since she was still living stateside, and I'm on the other side of the Pacific. I informed her that I was taking the advice of a monkey, and I had lost a small fortune over the last few years. She was gracious enough to place my bets and said she would send me my winnings after each week, and I laughed because I knew there were not going to be any winnings. To my surprise, each week this season, she sent me money, and I thought maybe she had pity on me because I was reduced to taking gambling advice from a monkey. I asked her why she was sending me money. My picks were always wrong. She explained that if Reginald's picks are always wrong, then the opposite of his picks are always correct. She took my picks and placed bets on the opposite of my pick, of Reginald's picks. That was genius. Carvel and T-Boy's 6 million data points can eat it. We're laughing at Lock and Forest's 3 lobster dinner. We're celebrating our first winning season by toasting with Johnny Walker Blue. And it's all thanks to doing the opposite of Reginald's natural instinct. Next time I'm in D.C., I'll take Reginald to the Palm for a Tony Kornheiser special, a BLT sandwich that's not on the menu.
Well done.
Jason Thompson, Lexington, South Carolina. Dr. Tony. Can I call you doctor? Anyway, I just watched Cover Up. I want to see this on Netflix. I do want to see this. A documentary profile of investigative journalist Seymour Hersh.
Oh, right.
It traces how he broke major stories like My Lai and Abu Ghraib. It uses actual archival footage and Hershey's own reflections to show his writing style, sources, skepticism, stubborn independence. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you and Cy work at the New York Times together in the late 1970s? Yes. And I admire Cy and I admire Woodward more than I admire anybody else that I've ever met in actual journalism. I would have assumed Netflix or ESPN would be simultaneously producing a similar profile of sports writer and columnist Anthony Kornheiser. Now, I can imagine the profile would touch on various issues from water leaks, outages, and home maintenance spirals to gardening misadventures, iPhone updates, and the continuing saga of man versus technology, to golf as both therapy and torment, and of course, the supporting figures Michael Wilbon, Chuck Todd, Gary Braun, David Aldridge, Liz Clark, Jeannie McManus, Bob Ryan, Nigel, Reginald the Monkey, Michael, so on. It struck me that you and Cy share the same superpower. You can make a reader feel like they're sitting right there in the room, whether it's high-stakes investigation or a perfectly ordinary moment that turns out to be hilarious, human, and weirdly profound. Different subject matter, same gift, sharp eyes, sharper sentences, and the kind of voice that makes people come back the next day. Anyway, that's my pitch. Same superpower, fewer war crimes, more personal technology crimes. If Netflix calls, tell them I'll take my executive producer credit and Lacheserie gift cards. That's really wonderful, and Cy Hirsch is he's a heroic figure in Detroit. Sam Rem in Springfield, Virginia. So, Grandpa, from Monday's show, you said, for kids, it's all about the food. Funny that I seem to know it's all about the food for you. From chicken parm at the Palm, Michael's grilling offerings, turkey clubs at Columbia, to the latest ice cream flavor eaten over the sink. Yeah, it's all about food for kids.